Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Eldritch Stronghold. I'm Mitchell, and this is Deck Sesh. In this series, we'll be going over decks that we play. These won't be like normal deck techs where we sit down and we talk about the entire list. It'll be more of a shorter version where I'm going to pick like 5 categories for the deck and pick roughly 5 cards for each category and go over and talk about them. I'm not going to post a deck list unless you guys ask for it. I'm also going to skip like the ramp and the removal packages because I think that varies depending on your playgroup. The reason I kind of want to do my deck techs like this is because instead of somebody just copying card for card, I want to like spark an idea, get them creative juices flowing. You'd be like, oh, I didn't know you could use that commander in that way, and things like that. So let me know what you think and let's get this video started. Alrighty, the commander for this video, as you guys can see in the title page, is Storvold, the Frost Giant Jarl. He's a 7/7 giant for 7 mana. He has Ward 3. He gives other creatures you control Ward 3. And whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, you can choose one or both. Target creature has base power and toughness 7/7 until the end of the turn, and target creature has base power and toughness 1/1 until the end of the turn. This deck is fun, tough, and hits like a truck. Our first category we'll go over is unblockable creatures. With our commander being able to make a creature a 7/7, I first thought was trample. I was like, you can trample over at a 7/7, but then I was like, wait, unblockable would be a lot better, and unblockable creatures are often more cheaper than creatures with trample. With our commander being at 7 mana, it's kind of nice to have to be able to play some creatures beforehand. Our first creature we'll go over is Blighted Agent. I know you hate to see it, but I love this card. It's 2 mana for a 1/1 with Infect and is unblockable. You play this on turn 2, you smack your opponent 2-3 times. When your commander hits the floor, this becomes a 7/7, smacks for that final, gives him 10, and that player's out. But Blighted Agent is pretty much a kill on sight creature. It probably won't stay around that long. Next card is the Infiltrator. It's a little bit more expensive at 3 mana, but it is a 1/4. Has the Void, so it has no color, ingest, and it can't be blocked. This card's a good blocker as well as it is an attacker, and the ingest is just icing on the cake. Next one is the newer card that I think is really cool. It's a Surge Engine for 2 mana. It's a 3/2 with Defender, but with 1 blue, you can make it lose Defender, and it gains this creature cannot be blocked. Then after that, you can pay 3, and it becomes blue with the base power and toughness of 5/4, but you can only activate this if it doesn't have Defender. And then finally, you can pay 6 to draw 3 cards, but you can only activate it if the Surge Engine is blue and only once. Alrighty, down to the 4th in line, it's Champion of Lamphold. He's a 1/1 for 3 mana. Creatures with power less than Champion of Lamphold's power can't block creatures you control. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, you put a +1/+1 counter on her. It's pretty much an anthem for the rest of your field. Your commander makes this a 7/7, and then any creature with 7 or less power can't block any of the creatures you have. Last unblockable card we'll talk about is Aqueous Form. For 1 blue mana, it's an aura that's enchants a creature. Enchanted creature can't be blocked, and whenever enchanted creature attacks, you scry 1. Simple, make any creature you want have unblockable, make it a 7/7, swing away. And the next category we'll be talking about is damage triggers. Now, a lot of the damage triggers we'll be talking about are draw effect. That pretty much is what our draw package is for this. First one we'll be talking about is Coastal Piracy for 4 mana. It's an enchantment that says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. This card, there's a lot of them now, a lot of better ones. Actually, there's one that you can cycle away that's pretty good. I like this one because I enjoy the art, and I like older cards. The next one we'll be talking about is Suspicious Stowaway for 2 mana. It's a 1/1 that can't be blocked. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and then discard one. Also has Daybound, Nightbound, and becomes a 2/1 wolf that can't be blocked. And then when it deals combat damage, you just draw a card, no need to discard one. Cold Eye Silky is one of my favorite cards. For 3 mana, it's a 1/1 with Island Walk, so it has that evasion built in.
Whenever Cold Eye Silky deals combat damage to a player, you can draw that many cards. So if your commander makes this a 7/7, this can refill your hand pretty fast. Trigon Predator, 3 mana for a 2/3. It's a flyer. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. It's removal with evasion. I really like it. Next one is Geo Golem. For 5 mana, you get a 5/3 Golem with trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast your commander from the command zone without paying its mana cost. This card's good for this deck because your commander starts at 7. If it dies 1, it's 9, then it's 11, so it does get pretty expensive. You make this thing a 7/7 with trample, makes it a little easier to get over, or just give it unblockable. There are a lot of combat damage triggers out there. The ones I enjoy the most in my deck are the ones that draw cards. Trigon Predator is pretty sweet, usually destroys a couple things in games. Now we know combat damage triggers are good, unblockable is really good, and what stacks really good on top of that? Double Strike. So we have a couple cards that either grant Double Strike or have Double Strike themselves. First one we'll talk about is Duelist Heritage. For 3 mana, it's an enchantment that whenever one or more creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain Double Strike until the end of turn. You can use this on your creatures, or you can even use it on your opponent's creatures. It's any creature that attacks on any combat step. The next card we'll be talking about is Avenging Huntbonder. This one can actually grant Double Strike to a few things on our board. For 5 mana, you get a 3/3 with Double Strike, and whenever this attacks, put a Double Strike counter on another target attacking creature. This is really good, especially when one of your creatures are 7/7. The next one we'll move to is the Myrian Crusader. For 3 mana, it's a 2/2 Double Strike, protection from black and green. So it has that sort of evasion built in, and it has Double Strike, make it a 7/7. Next card is the Silverblade Paladin. This card can give itself plus whatever creature it soul bonds with Double Strike. Last one is Heavenly Blade Master. For 6 mana, you get a 3/6 Angel with flying and Double Strike. When it enters the battlefield, you can attach any number of auras and equipment you control to it. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 for each aura and equipment attached to Heavenly Blade Master. This card comes in, it can get big, sucks up all your equipment, and it even buffs your board. So, as the Heavenly Blade Master would suggest, our last category is auras and equipments. The first card we'll be talking about is not an aura and equipment itself, but is a very helpful card for the strategy. For 4 mana, you get a 3/3 flyer. When Armored Skyhunter attacks, you look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put an aura or equipment card from among them onto the battlefield. If an equipment is put on the battlefield this way, you may attach it to a creature you control, put the rest of those cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. This card is just really good at fetching out the aura and equipments that we do have in the deck. We have a handful of them. There's not too many of them, but this dude definitely helps you get them out faster. Next one is Armadillo Cloak. For 3 mana, you get an aura with Enchanted Creature. Enchanted Creature gets +2/+2 and has trample, and whenever an enchanted creature deals combat damage, you gain that much life. I always love this card. You put this on a creature with lifelink, and the lifelink, and then the part of this enchantment that says whenever it deals combat damage, you gain that much life. They're separate effects, so you'd actually gain double life. So we actually have, I think, 2 creatures in my deck list as lifelink. You can put more if you want. Moving on to the next equipment, Holy Avenger. For 3 mana, equip your creature has Double Strike. So there's that Double Strike we were just looking at earlier. Whenever equipped your creature deals combat damage, you can put an aura card from your hand onto the battlefield attached to it, and it equips for 3 mana. Free auras is always nice. Fourth card is Robe of Stars. For 2 mana. Equipped your creature gets +0/+3 and has Astral Projection. For 2 mana, equipped your creature phases out. This protects your creature. You have a bunch of auras and equipments. Let's say on the Heavenly Blade Master, somebody targets it to destroy it. You use Robe of Star, the Astral Projection part of the Robe of Stars. You'll phase the creature out, and that'll take all the auras and equipments with it, and it'll phase back in, and your creature is protected. Last but not least is Mantle of the Ancients. For 5 mana, you enchant a creature you control. When this enters the battlefield, you can turn any number of target auras and/or equipment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to the enchanted creature, and then the enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each war equipment attached to it. You can make one of your creatures giant. You make an unblockable. This can close out games. You have the robe of stars equipped to it. You can always protect it. It's beautiful. The last section we're going to talk about is last minute mentions. So there are obviously a lot more cards in this deck than what I showed in this deck tech. These are just cards that I really like having in the deck, but there's not a lot of them per category. The Plague Mirror on the right is mana ramp and just another infect creature. I just love this card. The one on the left is Wild Beastmaster for 3 mana. It's a 1/1. Whenever it attacks, each other creatures you control get +X/+X until the end of the turn, where X is Wild Beastmaster's power. This effect is actually really strong in this deck because my commander can make it a 7/7, and then it just pumps my entire field +7/+7. There's a few creatures with this sort of effect. Only had enough space to only add her. I would like to see what you guys do with a deck like this, the ideas you go with. I really enjoyed making these videos. I hope we can do more in the future. I'm sorry, in the beginning of the video, I had an older mic and it did break. So halfway through this video, I got a newer mic. So I hope it sounds a little better than the old one. And if you guys have any suggestions on sound settings or anything like that, anything I do better to make it sound better, I'd appreciate that. Let me know how you guys like these videos, and have a good night.